There we go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever, wherever you are in the world. I'm looking forward today to talk to you about, something that's very close to my heart. It comes from my book. You can see here, if I hold it up like this, the book of sacred prescriptions. I wrote this book in 2019 and I launched it in 2020 because of Mike that threatened me. He said to me, if that book is not finished by 2020, then we're going to have to publish one of your old books that you didn't want published. So I thought, no, gosh, let me just write. And I wrote and wrote and wrote. And wrote. I'm a little bit of a perform under pressure person. So I felt the pressure and the threat worked. And so on my birthday, the 20th of June, 2020, I launched this book. And I wrote this book basically with 10 sacred prescriptions in there. And the way that I did it is that I pretended to write a love letter to 10 people that I know. And I thought the names will not be revealed. The names of those people will never be revealed. But I thought, wow, if I can just write a letter to this person and tell them, do that, it will make a significant difference in their lives. And then I thought, wow, I know another person who's got such a thing, such a knot in their soul based on this. I wish I can write them a love letter. But why a love letter? Because people don't always see our intentions behind telling them to do something. And Paulo Coelho has got a very beautiful quote that I absolutely love, that goes, to take responsibility for someone else's feelings is to dishonor them. So to go and try and fix something for someone else, or to try and give unsolicited advice to someone else, or trying to tell them, oh, you should just do that, then everything will be fine, would be to dishonor them, because you're not allowing their own journey to unfold. So from that perspective, I thought, wow, how can I reach these people? And I thought, well, let me write a book. And if the journey lead them to the book, it will lead them to the chapter that I wrote for them. But then it comes from the book. It doesn't come from me. Same for all of you on this call today. You can decide to get the book and read the book, but then you are called to do that. Then something spoke to you and the action is yours. It's not Landi sitting there going, oh, you should read my book, or oh, you should be doing this, or oh, you should be doing that. Because for me to do that would mean that I'm dishonoring you. So the overarching feeling of the book is about feeling light. Everywhere we travel, everywhere we go throughout the world, there's a lot of heaviness. A lot of people now at our events talk about, this is now the word of the year, right? The geopolitical environment. What's ever going on in the geopolitical environment? Everywhere you say, everyone knows now what's the geopolitical environment. And, different countries have their different heavies, I mean, we know we can sit, in a country and we're going to talk about property the whole time at the dinner table. And then we're going to be in a different country and we're going to talk about the politics all the time at the dinner table. And then we'll be in a different country and then we'll talk about, health and what you're supposed to eat or not eat. So every country, generalizing, of course, now have their heavies. And, if you don't remain focused, you can become very heavy yourself. And so today I'll be dealing with 3 of the prescriptions. I cannot possibly go into the detail, but I'm going to deal with 3 prescriptions from the book. And I may page a little bit there, but I'm actually going to try and keep it more spontaneous and wing it a little bit. So I would love for you to participate today. And I would love for you to give your perspectives on, these things, and what your experiences are. So the first one I want to talk about is the prescription of space. Now, I know you're here on this call. I can see your faces. Where's our overachievers? Up with your hands if you're comfortable to do so, or give me a thumbs up. Let's see. Where's our overachievers? Where's the people who always take responsibility for all the others? Yep. I see there's some hands not going up, but there's some smiles there. You are the ones that take responsibility for everyone. That's why I got this little award trophy here. You are the one who always take the higher road. You are the one who's always doing the right thing. You are the one that, you know, use phrases like, I'm very busy. You are the one that see yourself as leaders because you want to make an impact. You want to solve other people's problems because you think it's going to be better for the higher good and for the human race. Many of you have even got a calling, you know, meaning you feel you're here to do something very permanent, and that is driving your actions. It's actually causing you to go, you know what, it's not always easy, but I have to do this. You use those words. I have to do this. I should be doing this. I need to be doing this. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that calling or that sense of responsibility. In fact, you are the gems of the world because you take those things onto your shoulders. I always see you at events. You're the one who put your hand up for things. You're the one who volunteer. You're the one who's happy to lead the group. You are the one who really see the bigger picture. But what happens with you when you this type of person is you can end up at the end of the day being, one, very busy, and two, have no time for yourself. And it's very difficult for this type of person or profile to actually go and create a place for themselves where they can, one, be themselves, two, remember who they are, three, look after their health, four, rest within themselves, right? So you are unfortunately the specimen that burns out the quickest. So, and I sit on the sideline and I witness this many times, and I think, I wish for some of you I could have wrote this love letter to tell you not to chill and rest, but to make you aware of what you're missing out on. Anticlimax, what you're missing out on, right? There's a lot of things you're missing out on. Why? Because if you can see here on my call, this glass of water, it's coming in, you see. Now you are forced to look at my nail manicure as well. But if you see this glass of wine here, wine, look, where's my mind? You can see you the end of the year, right? All I can think of is wine. When you see this glass of water here, you can see it's almost full. Imagine this glass of water full to the brim, to the top. What is going to happen when this glass of water is full? Anyone, enlighten me. Just remember to unmute yourself. I'm waiting to see
it will overflow.
Yeah, it will
It
spill.
will overflow. Yes, James, what do you think?
It can easily spill.
It will spill. What happens when a glass of water spill, everyone?
You waste.
You
There is
waste
no room
water.
for anything else.
It's what, Agnes?
There is no room for anything else.
There's no room. It's spilled on the ground. Everything is wet. It's a mess, right? So
you just need to take a big drink, and then you can put more in.
You need to take a big drink, and it's very smart, Ian. And we'll get to that part now. And it's wise and true what you're saying, coming from our esteemed Gemini there. But it is absolutely what's going to happen. You're going to be full to the brim. Now, in elemental theory, if we can call it that, water represents emotions, right? So it's very common. It's very common for your type of archetype to feel incredible emotional overwhelm. But here's the sad part. That's why I want to write you a love letter. You're probably not going to tell other people. Why? Because you've learned to sort things out yourself. That's what you've learned. Many of these people, and again, is generalizing, didn't really have a childhood. You may have had some childhood, but you've had learned from a very young age to take a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders. And that makes me want to walk up to your type and give you hugs and kisses. Like go, you know, you've done great. Good boy, good girl. You worked very, very hard in order to be responsible for yourself and others. But you've now created a situation where there's literally no space left for you. Only space for other people. Now, don't get me wrong. Your type are not a disease to please person. You're not pleasers. In fact, I find you, as you get older and more mature, to put really great boundaries in place for yourself. You know, that's one of the things you learn, but it took a while for you to get there. You're certainly not here to please other people, but you are here to take a lot of responsibility for other people, and then you end up with no space. So here today sits Dr. Jac with my prescriptions, and what I would prescribe you in order to counteract this would be, you need space. That's what I'm prescribing for you. That's what this type of person needs. What do you do? How do you create that type of space in your life? That is the big question. And that's what the icons on the slide is. Now, you don't want to take all of these prescriptions. You know, I don't know. Some of you here goes to doctors. Some of you don't go to doctors. But for those of you who started their lives of going to doctors, whatever, you know, you can get a very big flu and then the doctor end up giving you a script with a bag like this full of stuff. And then you go home and you look at that bag, then you go, oh, you know, I have to drink all these things and I have to have this and have that and have this and have that. These days, me and Mike are using herbal medicine from Chinese doctors, but we can easily walk out of there with a big bag full of herbs as well, you know. And so see these as your medicines and your herbs in order to go and create that space, but you don't have to drink all of it. So you don't have to take all the pills, right? You can take what you feel is relevant for you and what will work for you. So take what will work for you and leave the rest behind. So the first one I'm going to touch on here is, I'm not going to go in random order because that's boring, right? We don't want boring. So I'm going to start here actually with one of the things that's massively changed my life. Because by the way, a lot of these prescriptions are archetypes I can in some way identify with. And some of you are going to be able to identify with some of the archetypes. Some of you will be able to not identify with the archetypes. And some of you will be able to identify with the combination of it. So the first big pill I can give you, if you never create a space in your life and you're this incredible busy person who take responsibility for other people, is music. You see the turntable there, right? Music. It is an incredible, I would say, catalyst for you creating space in your life. And that, Ian Hatton, is what happens if you pop hearts on. You know, when I say something now, you're going to have to tell us how music have changed your life.
Music for me is one of the easy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's going to be you, Ian, and then James, because he's given
okay.
up too. Yeah.
So yeah, my hi-fi is worth more than my car, apparently, and that's not because I got a fancy car, by the way, just to be clear. So for me, there is no quicker way to shift a mood than music. It takes me to different places. I'm not a musician. I don't have the fine motor coordination to play an instrument, but I appreciate so many different genres of music, and depending on what I need and where I'm at, it makes me come alive. It shifts something inside of me.
Give us examples of the music. Like if you're down, what do you put on? And if you're moody, what do you put on? And what do you do? He's going to his playlist. Do you have a playlist?
No. I have favorite albums. I'm still old school, remember?
There's nothing wrong
So,
with that. Do you want to play us?
Having grown up with older brothers and sisters in the 1970s, it was Led Zeppelin and Fleetwood Mac and Heart and Supertramp and all that sort of thing. And each one of those has a big role in my life. But sometimes I'll put on jazz. I love jazz as well. So it depends on what it is. But I remember first discovering, when I was still in high school, putting on one of my brother's Led Zeppelin albums and realizing my entire mood changed for the better. And I went, oh my goodness, this is interesting. It's like a prescription.
What was the song?
It was A Whole Lot of Love.
Can you play that for us? Just a little bit of it, like 10 seconds.
Ooh, I don't know how to do that right now. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'll do it with
while
the
you do
microphone.
that, we'll ask James how the music is.
Exactly, Fred. You've got it.
Thank you for that, Fred.
This is the one.
And look at Fred's face, how it changes his energy, eh? That, like, Fred, by the way, is like totally into rock. He's a musician himself and into criminology as well. So how interesting of a combination is that? And sort of watch out, right? He's analyzing your behavior. So while you do that, James, tell us how music changes your life. How's it creating space for you?
Yes, so frequency treatment has really become part and parcel of complementary and alternative medicine. So when you're an insomniac, or whether you are depressed, or whether you are stressed, if you listen to, there we go. If you listen to a specific frequency,
Yeah,
it will raise your vibration.
absolutely.
And it will be part of medicine. So instead of walking out with 10 different kinds of pills, so maybe give people three different kinds of pills and 6 different kinds of frequencies to listen to. So what I also do is, when I do my morning meditation, I combine my mantra with a gratitude frequency, because
Wow.
I feel even if you start to wonder and you think of other things, the effect of the music, you cannot delete that.
No.
Even if a patient is dying, the very last thing that will go, or of course before the heart stops, is hearing. So that
Wow.
patient that's lying there and he's now on his way to Uppington, which is up, they still hear. So
Oh, great. I love that.
frequency treatment is very important of the work that I do, and I like to incorporate frequency treatment, whether you listen to music for relaxation or whether you listen to music for treatment. But music is medicine,
It's totally, music is medicine. And
and it's
I love
fantastic medicine.
it is. And I love that you said about the audio is one of the last things that goes, because that also means if any one of you are sitting on this call and there's someone terminal in your life or someone that is dying, that you can actually really make use of audio to help them create that headspace. And I like what you also said, Ian, because you being the youngest in the family out of the siblings, it can get overwhelming. Siblings can drive you nuts. They can literally drive you nuts, right? Or if you have a family full of people, I mean, I had a family with a stepbrother, half brother, full brother, every single combination you can think of. So what do you do when they drive you nuts? You put your earphones on, right? Because that go and create that space. Thank you for that, James. That's super insightful. And you obviously know what you're talking about, because that's what you do, right? So let's see quickly, before we go to anyone else, if we can hear that song. Just a little bit of it. Cool. Thank you, Ian. Gosh, I would have loved to do this for the whole morning, I tell you. Look, it's a huge shifter. It's a huge thing. I can't promote enough that for 2026, you get yourself a playlist, and that this playlist is with music that make you feel good. So if you wake up in the morning and you go, I'm not reaching my goals, I'm not good enough, there's more I need to do, I'm not fast enough, all the things that this archetype say, that you put on that playlist, it's phenomenal. I use it for dancing. So every morning I dance. Wherever I travel with my Bose speaker. Mike wakes up every single morning of his life in the club. Every morning. Like, we would be in a hotel room and he'll be like, my darling, just put it a little bit down, just put it a bit down, because I pump it every single morning, and that's how I start my day. And I believe, like James said, it shifts your state. It has that medicinal effect, right? Ian, you wanted to say something?
No, that was it.
Oh, you wanted to play your song? Okay.
I just wanted to play the song, yeah.
That's very, very cool. So I really want you to go and do your playlist and put that together. Now, I want to make use of your curiosity. I want you, Agnes, to pick the next icon on the slide. Pick an icon.
The next icon would be the bed.
The bed, of course, sleep, right? Now, we are
It's
sick of
early
people-
morning for me.
Well, there you go. We're going to talk about the bed because Agnes wants to talk about the bed. Now, we all are sick of people telling us how we need to sleep, right? We've been told over and over we need to sleep, but it's not always practical. Me and Mike can sometimes be on airports, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you have a meeting, whatever. So I'm giving you a different perspective of sleep. Of course, we have to sleep. We have to sleep long enough. It's not going to serve your brain if you up until late in the evening, blah, 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 blah. We've all heard it. We know the signs, all that stuff. Life happens. I want you to encourage to create more space for sleep. So that means if, you had a very busy weekend, for example, because we think of busyness only as something that happens during the week when you have lots of things to do. But, for a lot of you, depending on your belief system, you'll be in the silly season now, meaning you're going to get quite festive, for a lot of you who's Asian, you're going to be chilling now still until Chinese New Year comes, then your silly season comes. So it's different for different people and different cultures. But after a silly season, you could be quite drowned out. And, there's a lot of socials. I mean, me and Mike like to keep our socials to weekends, but because we're about to leave the country, we are hanging out now almost every week night with different people. So that can tire you out. So busyness is not just something that happens during the week. It can be your social life as well. So I want to encourage you to insert space wherever you feel tired. That means when you've had a busy weekend, you have to sleep on Monday. You can't work on Monday. Look at your faces. You're like, what? We're not going to work on Monday? You can't work on Monday. So you have to box your sleep. So if you, for example, I'm going to give you a classic example. We, this weekend, going to do a delivery event in Cape Town called Life and Mind Mastery. And that means me and Mike are holding the space for people on a Friday. We're holding the space for people on a Saturday. It's going to be my weekend. Me and Mike do my weekend and your weekend. So I'm probably going to pump as many things into Sunday to try and retrieve my weekend. Monday, I'm going to be tired. Most people is going to get up on Monday and work because why? They should do that because someone told you that and you believe it, right? And your type, if you identify with this type, if you have to sleep in on a Monday, just share with me what you're going to feel like. Anyone, please. What are you going to feel like if you're sleeping on Monday? What do you call those feelings?
Shame. This is not right. I shouldn't do this.
Yep, absolutely. What else? Who else? What do you feel like?
Fantastic.
You're going to feel fantastic if you can sleep in, Nadia.
Celebration. Yeah, I've learned whenever I'm doing weekend work, I book a day off the next week.
Well done. I love that. And you, Nadia, do you do that?
I actually don't work on Fridays. I haven't for many years.
Fantastic. I love that. But I think that, and I commend you for that, Nadia, because that means you space your rest, right? But I think the message is if you feel tired, you cannot work the whole week and you have to take those, because we make things for ourselves like, I'm not going to work on Friday. We do that. And that's a fantastic rule. But then if it does happen that, you had a very big weekend, you need to take a day after that off as well. So I call this blocking. You're blocking it out. And the same goes here for the ghost. You see the ghost here? The same goes for if your week is so overwhelming that you start feeling symptoms. And these symptoms, our body shows us. Our body shows us when the glass is too full, clearly. Things come up like you snap at other people. Things come up like, if you're someone who enjoys wine, you drink that glass of wine too much. Things come up like, you have brain fog. Things come up like you take things super personally, you become very sensitive. Things come up like you binge eat. Your body will tell you. You know exactly. When those things come up, you don't, and this is the word you use on yourself. I don't have discipline. I need more discipline. I've been watching my podcast. I'm procrastinating. That's typical words you use. Maybe you need some sleep. Maybe you need some space, and your mindset will be completely different. And you use it, you put ghost meetings in. So I want to move to the next slide. So I'm going to quickly run through these icons so you can choose what you want to do to go and create space. Here on this side, mind space. You create mind space by meditating. So Ian mentioned you just take a big gulp of water out of the glass. That's going to be meditation. If you want to get that glass down very quickly, you go and you close your eyes, and you don't have to go and do, you know, Joe Dispenza's advanced meditation. You can literally close your eyes, get your vacuum cleaner out, take that vacuum cleaner, plug it into Mother Earth and vacuum. So let's say, you know, for example, you'll know you are, let's say you met someone from the past this weekend and you hanged out the whole weekend together, and now your mind space is filled, and you can't laugh in this call because everyone's going to know who I'm talking about. So you really need to keep poker face now. But let's say you are that person and you met someone over the weekend and you've spent the whole time. And what do you do now after the weekend? This brain is now full of, what about this and what about that? And what did this one say? And what did that one say? This can completely overwhelm you. What do? You take the vacuum cleaner out, you close your eyes, you go into meditation, you go, you vacuum all those thoughts out, right? You had a meeting yesterday and you're not sure if it went well. Your mother-in-law told you something that wasn't cool. Your partner told you you're useless. Vacuum out. You've just went on Facebook and again compared you with other people. So vacuum up your mind space in the morning will set you up for success in the day. You can vacuum in the morning and vacuum in the evening. And so any thought, feeling, vision that comes up, you vacuum it out. You clean that space. Email here, the second icon, means removing big monsters from your life. We all have big monsters. Name your monster. If you don't have if you can't think of your monster, close your eyes, the monster will come up. You'll know it's the monster. For me, the monster was email. I ghosted email. Like literally, I went like, by email, unplugged it. I'm never going to use it again. Name your top monster for 2025. Exclude it from your life. For some of you, it may be sugar. For some of you, it may be coffee because it gets you worked up. For some of you, it may be email. For some of you, it may be your mother-in-law, you know, sorry. For some of you, it may be a partner. You got to a point where you got, look, you've just taken up too much space in my life. For some of you, it may be your doom and gloom friend, maybe an employee. You know, it's different for different people. You will, when you close your close your eyes, know your monster, get rid of the monster. You'll see drawers there next. I honestly believe physically clearing out space, open opportunities for new things. You see this with people who have drastic weight loss. They think they're on a weight loss journey, but they're actually on a spiritual journey. They don't realize that. They don't realize that in the beginning, but then they realize when they make space in the body, make space for the organs to breathe, other things can come in. Make space in your house. Go this weekend and go and clear up your closets, and magic will happen next week. By the way, it is the 11th of the 11th today. It's a very powerful day. So 11/11 for me means two portals. It's like doorways, right? So you have the opportunity to go through new doorways literally today, but it's a give and take. You know, if you go to Ireland and you are lucky enough to bump into the leprechaun will say to you, I'll give you your treasure at the end of the rainbow, and I'll give you a pot of gold, but I want something in return. That's how space works. So if you want to go in 2026 to your next level, you have to gonna give something in order to get something. So ask yourself, which of my drawers am I going to empty? What does that represent for you? Music is a quick and easy way to vibrationally, as James said, lift your spirits. The calendar year is to go and create space already in 2026. Look at your calendar for 2026. Ask yourself, where do I already want to block and create space for myself in 2026? Put all your birthday parties, all your celebrations, all your holidays, everything in first, and then you see what's left for work. Ouch. This is like for our goal-driven people on here, a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Going to create space first. It's almost like I can see your face, Monet. You're going like, wait a little bit, Landi. Did you just say, I have to block out my calendar? Monet, Clay, me and Mike manage our lifestyle like this. We literally put our calendar out and we go, we want to be home for my mom for Mother's Day, so we need to be there. I want to be home here for my mom for her birthday because she's getting older. I want to make sure I'm there. I want to be actually next year. Mike is the president of the Global Speakers Federation. He has to visit all these associations, but while we're there, we have to go and see this ancient site. While we're there, we want to see this person, this friend. You know, there's an opportunity for us to do that. By the time we're done blocking up things in our calendar for example, 2026, we probably taking off weekends from that, have like, let's say, sometimes 180 days left to achieve what we want to achieve. And our attitude is the space is blocked now for the other stuff. Now we need to make it happen in that 180 days. And if you can start doing it like that, you're going to realize that you are very, very unproductive. In other words, when you realize you only have 180 days to achieve what you want to achieve, you're going to realize how much more of your time you've wasted, because you're going to achieve that in 180 days if you set your mind to it. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, if you start blocking out meetings and you get rid of the monsters and all that stuff, you're going to see you can probably achieve what you're achieving now in probably 3 days a week. Crazy, eh? How do I know this? Because me and Mike travel a lot, and that means a lot of our time is spent on airports, which means we have to make the time available to us work. So go and block out your dates for next year. We've put in some ghost meetings. For someone like Nadia, a ghost meeting with herself is a Friday. That's a meeting with herself. We call that a ghost meeting. And then you have to go and start journal. Journaling has the same effect than music. But again, people tell you journal. How many times have you heard you had to journal? Please put up your hand if you heard you had to journal. Yeah. Why does journaling help, Ian? Why does it create space for you?
I love journaling. For me, sometimes my brain gets overstimulated, and when I can just start writing it down, and I don't have a particular format, I allow it to just completely free flow. Sometimes I have a single word or a single sentence to start with, and then it just goes from there. The net result is always that overstimulation is calmed down, there's peace again, there's space again.
Yeah, you literally do what you said, Ian. You take this glass of water and you pour it out. So it doesn't have to make sense. You see, if you're the typical archetype of, I have to be busy, I have to reach my goals, I have to take responsibility for other people, you can't see why you should do something if it doesn't make sense to you. It's tough for your type. So for you to go and write in a journal, you're going to go, Landi, all you do is you're wasting my time now. You're wasting I'm sitting here writing stuff down. Why am I writing stuff down? I don't understand why I'm writing stuff down. So what you're doing, you're emptying the brain. By the way, when you sleep every night, you empty the brain as well. So if you don't have enough sleep, your brain's not emptied properly. Your brain acts like a washing machine. So every night you go into your deep sleep, it's like putting the start button on your washing machine. Who of you here got a dishwashing machine? Yeah, you put it on at night. What happens? You can hear the water. The water comes through of the dishwashing machine. You can hear. That's what your brain does. So the moment you start resting, the brain does this. It contracts like a sponge, all the toxins out of your brain, and it cleans it. And that's why you wake up the next morning feeling fresh, because the toxins is cleaned out of your brain, and then you can start anew. If you haven't had enough sleep, or you partied like a freaking rock star, and you wake up the next morning, you've got brain fog, it's because the brain didn't properly clean itself out. The same is with journaling. So with journaling, you are taking, like Ian is saying, all this overwhelm, all this thought, and you're just putting it into another drawer. That's what you're doing. It doesn't have to necessarily do something or manifest something. You know, I use journals to pick up on signs and symbols, and then I interpret it, but that's just the way I use it. You can simply use your journal to clean out your brain. David, this is something you've done from a very young age. Would you like to share a little bit with our group here, just why that has been so powerful for you in healing yourself?
Sure. So I think I use journaling just for two things. The first thing is when things trigger me and my mind goes into overdrive, I try and write down what the trigger is so I can learn the patterns that are affecting my, I should say, inner peace. So I use journaling a lot for mental triggers, and then I use it as well to basically imagine a new reality for myself. So I get my thoughts down and I create a vision for myself on a logical level with emotion, and then I take that and I actually create a meditation for myself. And I use that journaling to help me basically put my ideas down so I can take myself on a journey.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Dovi, I would like you and Carrie to connect with each other on a Zoom call, please.
Cool.
For you to reach out to each other and have a little bit of a convo. Okay, great. Okay, so that is space, right? So I'm just going to put here Carrie and Dovi. I'm going to post you on our software as an introduction. 2 people are introduced, and you're going to have to report back to me what came out of that call.
Cool.
Carrie's laughing because she knows. Carrie has traveled many, many times with me and Mike. Carrie knows that Mike is here to change the world, but she knows that I'm here to rule the world and that I just tell people what to do, you see. That's why she's smiling. She knows. She's seen it many times. Okay, so that is space. Please go and create some space for yourself in 2026 and plan it, because it's not just going to happen like that. Now we're going to move to the second prescription, which is one of my favorite prescriptions, because it's a prescription of non-attachment. And that's something that air people do very well. Who's got the element of air in them on this call? Yes, James, why do you have air in you? Are you Gemini what? Ian?
Aquarius.
Ah, my fellow air buddy. Ian, you Gemini, you air, obviously. Who else?
Gemini, and then also water. I'm the water rabbit.
Water rabbit. So more air people on here. Ah, we got Claire. Why do you have air in you, Claire? And it rhymes. Birds.
Gemini.
Gemini. Look at the Geminis. Look how proud the Geminis is to come out and say they have air in them. So air people can detach. That's why I'm asking. But this is a very, very powerful skill or prescription to have for those of you on the call who's had your hearts broken. This is for those who had your hearts broken. And I mean, I'm not going to ask you to put up your hand, because I don't think I've ever come across a person who's not had their heart broken. But when you've had your heart broken, you have basically issues. It's in a very simple way, because when you have your heart broken, you collect spider webs, right? So you actually put spider webs together and you attach yourself to those spider webs, and you become attached to your past, and you become attached to things that's happened to you, and you become attached to what other people have told you, and you become attached to all these things. And the more we've had our hearts broken, the more we actually don't want our hearts broken. It's that simple. The more bad things has happened to us, the more what happens? You're going to avoid change like the freaking plague, right? Because you go, I've been through change, I've been through a heartbreak. And what happens is you start to distrust life. And because you distrust life, you start to distrust other people. You know, I know someone very well whose husband was very, very ill. Her husband was very terminally ill. It's someone actually in my family. And because of that heartbreak of him passing away, she told me one night, and it struck my heart so deeply. She told me, during this process, I've learned to distrust my gut feeling, because my gut feeling told me this person's going to heal, and they did it. Boom, right? They went like, wow, I can't. So you start to play small, because now if you're going to love again, what does your brain tell you? You're going to lose again. So you better not love again, right? You can't go and put people in your teams. You can't do partnerships with people, because they're going to screw you. That's what you tell yourself, right? You can't go and fall in love again, because then, you know now what it feels to say goodbye. So you don't dare do that again. You know, so you become resistant to change. But here is now the reality. And please don't shoot the messenger here. This is really coming from a place of love, so that you can realize that you are sitting in cobwebs. You're not using perspective. You drowning in your perception based on past experience. Now, here's the number 5 here. Who on this call knows what the number 5 represents in numerology? What does number 5? Wonder who's going to Google it now quickly. Don't be shy.
Communication.
Who said that? Diane?
Yes.
Oh, wrong. Well, it's probably right, given your husband was like the numerologist of the universe. So, but I'm going for something else. So communication is probably one of this. I'm not going to say no to that. Anyone else know what the universal symbol is of the number 5? Change, everyone. 5 is the number of change. If you've got a life path number of 5, you are up for a lot of change. Guess who's got a number 5 life path number, right? So a lot of change, right? So change will happen. And that's why I have the moons here below it. It's cyclical. Life is cyclical. So what happens is, even though you're scared of heartbreak, even though you're scared of not going through partnerships, even though you're scared of making yourself vulnerable, even though you're scared of showing yourself, you will go through change. What goes up must go down. What is down must go up. Who on this call has been in the last few years through significant change? Right. Moira, then Nadia. Please share with us a little bit of what you've learned through this process of change about life. Moira's looking for an unmute button.
Oh, what have I learned?
What have you
You
learned
never
the
know.
past with this change you've been through? Anything you want to share there about the cyclical nature of life and change and how we cannot run from it?
Well, you can't run. You can hide, but it'll find you. Yeah.
You want to share?
Yeah, I've had massive change, huge change. And it, I have to say, hand on heart, I have grown enormously with every super difficult thing that came my way, except I'm not at the point yet of being supremely grateful for each of them. But I am grateful for what they have led to. Yeah. I wouldn't wish a lot of this on anyone. In fact, I wouldn't. But wow. In the last year, I had a serious car accident, last 24 months, very serious car accident, followed by 2 operations, 10 months out of work, like 0 income. And after 10 months, back on my feet, so grateful. So grateful for that whole journey, what I learned in the intensive care, from more drugs than I ever thought I'd see in this lifetime. And 10 months to get back on my feet, to get 100% mobility back. And then I had 2 months of, just let me at it. Just let me back at life, you know? And then 2 months, and then I ended up with a concussion. I thought, nah, you can't make this shit up. But I've learned so much more about the brain. I've learned unbelievable things about what I've learned is who I am, which I knew intellectually, but I didn't know physically. Like, I know I'm not this body.
Yeah.
I know I'm
experience that. You didn't learn it out of a book. You actually experienced it. Life gave you the experience of learning of who you am. And it's a big fat mirror, right?
Yeah, and I love theory, but the gap between theory and real life, whoa, yeah, go in there. That's like the Grand Canyon of, it's, yeah. But what have I learned?
Number one thing. Give me
What
the
I've
number
learned
one
is
thing you learned.
I have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
I've spent 70 years in self-reflection and teaching other people to go within, and I'll do that for the rest of my life. And I still don't know the extent of what is possible for me. I have to stop thinking I know what's possible for me and listen to other people, because other people can see it and I can't see it myself. But I can
Wow.
see what's possible for other people
Wow.
and bring it forth. So, yeah, I just,
Wow.
it's, this life, what a trip. What a
Mm,
trip. And
mm.
I've learned that you can age younger.
Yeah,
Age
absolutely.
younger. I'm in better shape. I was in better shape when I was 50 than I was at 40. I'm in better shape all round at 70.
I can
I didn't
see that.
even think I was going to live
I
this
wanted to say
long.
to you, look fantastic. I have to say, for someone who's been through the mill, and the washing machine and the tumble dryer, and you really,
The shredder.
I have to commend you. You look fantastic. I wanted to comment you on your skin and your hair, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to be that shallow
Not
now.
out of it yet.
But you
Not
really,
out of it yet.
but
But
you
yeah,
look hot, Moira. You look really good.
thanks. I'm intending to look supreme 2026, and I'm headed for it. Yeah. Anyway, rah.
Thank you for sharing. I want to go
Lots
to
of love,
Nadia
everyone.
quickly. Thank you for sharing, Moira. I really appreciate. Nadia, what have changed and life taught you the last year or so?
So I think being with Circle of Excellence, I've learned a lot around the language of the universe, and I've looked into that a lot. Living in the West Coast as well, living in the remote bush, I tapped into that a lot, and even where I'm living now. But I think for me that I like to control everything and the outcomes, and I've had to learn to trust the flow.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Like when the river takes you, the river is going to take you. I think what I'm trying to say with people with non-attachment is it's going to take you with or without your consent. I think that's the funny part, right? And it's not funny when you actually go through the change, but it's going to take you. So the prescription of non-attachment, I just want to park on a little bit longer because we're going to run out of time for the third one. You're not going to get your third prescription. You're gonna have to come back for your other prescriptions. Yes, Moira.
Wind it up. Oh no, I'm just saying, wind it up. Let's have it all.
Wind it up. Let's have it all. So non-attachment is surrender. Non-attachment is saying that I'm not going to be scared of everything and fear everything because of what's happened in my past, because the change is going to come anyway. You're going to fall in love anyway. You're going to get at some stage a diagnosis anyway, some of you. You're going to have breakups. Someone's going to unexpectedly leave you anyway. You may get health scares anyway. You may get the unexpected anyway. So the idea is not to avoid the change, because change is cyclical. That's why I have the moons here. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much you look after your body, doesn't matter what input you put in, there will be a summer. After the summer, there will be autumn. After autumn, there will be winter. And after winter, there will be spring. That is the laws of the universe. So if you come across someone who's in their summer, what must you say to them? I'm really sorry, because autumn and winter is coming next to them, right? When you see someone in winter, you have to celebrate, because next will be coming spring. So if you've sit on this call today and you've had a winter, on the laws of the universe, your spring will arrive. Isn't that good news? If you've been in summer and you've been making hay, baby, and everything have been going well, you need to prepare like the squirrel and start putting away your nuts. That's the reality of life. And that's why we have to non-attach to thinking we can control life. We can control our thoughts. We can control the space we create, like in the previous prescription. We can control the type of people we hang out with. We can control what we eat. But when you go and you speak to people in hospice, especially the nurses that look after the people in hospice, they laugh. Not at the people who's dying, but at what people say on their dying bed, is that I thought I could control things, and it was one of the biggest mistakes I were ever going to make. So you can plant energy, but you can't plant the outcomes. And you need to surrender and detach from that. So in other words, what does these arrows mean here? It means keep your aspirations high, but your expectation low. Especially for those of you who are deeply in love at the moment, right? Because we can be idealistic around things. Keep your aspirations high, meaning you're always going to expect, or you're always going to want to dream about. You're going to dream about the other person in their highest version and you in your highest version. But you're not going to expect them to be perfect in a week. That's unrealistic, right? Now with that, because Moira said, and I've learned when Moira said, you listen. I'm going to now run through the last prescription, but I'm very happy to continue with this series at a later stage. When you talk about non-attachment, you have to constantly create the space, which we've learned about in the first prescription, to discern between when are you in perception, which is not good. If you're in your perception, you are basically making calls and you are having belief systems and judging people and doing things based on the sum total of your experience. The sum total of your experience is 0.0000000.1% of reality. Perspective is you go back to reality. For example, perception would be all women are heartbreakers or all guys can't be trusted. That's simply based on your 0.000000001% of experience. Perspective is there's really good people out there and I've not even met a split of a percentage of them. That's perspective. That's why you need to create space for yourself regularly. Otherwise you lose perspective. And you see, I've put there a aha moment in there for you. Yeah. Yes. Now, I literally got 7 minutes now to go through this whole prescription. So I think we're going to have to redo this. Or do this one, but I'll give you an intro into this one, right? Because I want to give it the time that it deserves. All I'm going to tell you on the sacred prescription of joy is that there's not a lot of people that gives joy a chance. You know, life creeps on us, you know, and again, because of the change that you're going to go through, it's going to steal joy. This steals joy a lot of time, right? So if you want to do any work, don't go and work on your lead generation. Even Mike will now come to me and say, I can't believe you just say it to people, because that's part of what we teach, right? So don't go and work on your lead generation. Go and work on finding joy in your life. And one of the things you can do that is to put on your owl eyes. That's something I write about in this book, in the chapter on joy. In the chapter on joy, I talk about your owl eyes. And you have to start living with owl eyes. So you can do this during your meditations in the morning when you put on your owl eyes. And these are super radar eyes. Like, people are so worried about AI and the robots is going to take us over. Yet we are the technology. We have all these technologies in us. Manifesting is a technology. You know, we've got magic in us. That's technology. The ability to form a deep bond with a person is technology. AI is copying us. AI is just going, oh, I also want to be like that, but they don't have a soul, so they're copying us. So therefore, you don't have to be scared because the technology is in us. So owl eyes is a technology. And so when you have your owl eyes on in the morning, these eyes allow you to see what is stealing your joy. There's joy thieves out there. You can see this little red guy here. joy thief. And what happens if we don't put the owl eyes on every morning, we're going to start feeding the things that steal our joy, right? The American Indians talk about the black wolves and the white wolves. This is such a profound thing in my life for me that I went out and I bought a piece of art that has black on the white side and white on the other side. I didn't buy a wolf, but I bought an angel. It's stunning. And the angel's got the two wings, and half of the angel is dark and half of the angel is light. So every morning I force myself, when I open my eyes, I look at this piece of art and I make a choice. Am I going to choose joy or am I going to choose darkness? That is the choice you make every single day of your life. Are you going to choose better, or are you going to choose bitter? Are you going to choose lightness, or are you going to choose darkness? Are you going to choose the white wolf? Or are you going to choose the black wolf? With some of the clients that I work with on mindset, I get them to put a white teddy and a black teddy on their bed so that they literally roll over it in the morning when they wake up and are forced to make that choice. So your owl eyes, when you put them on every morning, give you the gift of sight to see what is taking it. And it's so different for everyone. And I really want to go more into this. And I want to also come up with very practical ways for you to really bring joy back into your life. Because when joy comes in, flow opens, and suddenly people, ideas, money, all these opportunities, because it's irresistible for people. People cannot resist joy. In fact, sometimes I think joy works at a higher vibration than love, because a lot of kids come into this world and they learn how to love, but they come into this world with joy already in their lives. It's almost like it's already programmed in them. And that joy keeps their vibration incredibly high. So we go out there and we love and we serve people with our products and services, but combining that with the vibration of joy would have an immense effect in your life. And silliness have a lot to do with that. So I'm going to leave you there because I really want to take you through this whole book. This is the series I'm actually going to run a little bit to help you with, I would call, more alternative ways of resetting your mind, of doing it more in a playful way, but with the goal not to be perfect, which is what the personal development society try and teach us, but with the goal to be more lighter. And you, James, who work with frequency, the lighter you are, Nadia mentioned about tapping into the language of the universe, the more lighter you are, the more the language of the universe can access you. The heavier you are, you like this wood, you cannot be accessed, so the messaging can't come through. So my message to you, and I'm going to leave you here, is don't take yourself and life so seriously, because just by doing that, you will incredibly increase the frequency of your being, which would allow a lot of messaging to come through. So with that, we have 2 minutes left. And I want to welcome any closing remarks before I close this call today and send you into the unknown abyss. Any ahas for anyone? Everyone who go, I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to try this. Out with it. Don't be shy. Your comment helps other people.
Can I say something?
Who's that? Who's there?
James.
Yes, James, please.
It might sound negative, but it's not negative. You have never arrived. Life is cyclical. Enjoy the ride.
It's very positive and very wise words, actually, especially the enjoy the ride part. Yeah. You know, James, my way of looking at it is, and it's not correct in terms of percentages, but who cares about being correct in percentages? Definitely not me. You know, you literally have the choice of, well, that's how I put it. 50% of things I can't control, 50% of things I can control. Boom, accept that. And get ready, gear yourself up for the stuff you can't control. This is something my grandmother said to me a few years before she passed. She said to me, Landi, she said to me basically that you have to accept that most of the things that happens in your life, you've never planned for and you will never be able to prepare for. So just try and make yourself as light and as joyous as possible, so that when life comes and weigh you down, you've got the skills to actually lift yourself up again. It's really, because life will come and it will bring you down. And it's not about life bringing you down that distinguishes you from other people. It's the way in which you lift yourself up again, the way in which that balloon that's out of air, the way in which you re-helium the balloon and get it to go up again. That is what makes a person extraordinary, not being perfect. Being perfect is not what makes you extraordinary. If you've been sitting here and you've been listening to all the podcasts and berating yourself because you're not perfect yet, it's the wrong message, right? The right message is you're extraordinary. Life is going to knock you over many times. It's your ability to pick you up, yourself up, that inspires other people. Anyone else wants to maybe say one final thing before we go forth and conquer?
I will just quickly say that, this book that we're launching in a few weeks' time, the last parts in writing it, I've reminded myself every time I write anything that I want to explore play, fun, silliness, and joy in everything I write. And it's coming through, and I'm having so much more fun.
You have to be silly, Ian. It's one of the most powerful things to be silly and to laugh. Those laughs where, me and Mike had it this morning, where you leave a voice note or you talk to someone and then one of us suddenly burst out laughing, and then we go, we can't send this voice note. And now we're trying to get control of ourselves and the tears are running and we're just incredibly silly, that heals. That heals. Okay, everyone, I'm going to leave you with all the love in the world. I will, for the next series, I see now we only have time for 2 prescriptions at a time. So I'll start the next one with joy and we'll definitely dive into that. I'm not going to give you this little bit. I want to go deeper into that. And then I'll pick another prescription that can go with this one. And there's 10 in total. And let's see if we can march into 2022 with a mindset that's much lighter. Me and Mike love you too very, very much. We're almost about to hit the road. I think it's the 27th of November. We're gone for 4 months, and I'll definitely be posting like a crazy person. I want to encourage you all to please share your life and your journey and what's happening with you on our online software so that people can get to know you. And Dovi and Carrie, please report back. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. That was cool. Oh, look at that. Landi.